starting the advertising this Friday. Now, that's pretty ambitious.
Okay.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't
I
have,
think I left mine at home.
You left all that at home?
yeah, I don't have a draft time, I
Did I
don't,
tell you
I'm a very,
did I tell you I was a superintendent for 12 years?
no.
I
are we in
was.
trouble, are we in trouble?
No, sir, but I brought extras.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Oh,
Look at you.
I reckon I know this would take this with me.
You examine?
Do we get an A?
You all get a gold star by your name. You get to go to lunch early or something, you know.
Thank you. We're in trouble.
I never had a gold star by my name when I was in school, so. Okay, let's talk about this timeline just a second. See, once again, we're gonna try to start advertising by Friday. That, as I said, it's gonna be a little ambitious, but, you know, we're gonna set an ambitious goal here. Let's go to the bottom of the page now. And I've got down there that you all having a new superintendent named by April 25th. And the board interview candidates April 12th through the 20th. Now, let me say right now, this reason why I want to go to the bottom right here, is these dates are all arbitrary. There's just something to put in here. You can go till the middle of June if you want to, or you can hire the day after the screening committee makes their recommendations to you. Doesn't matter. So those dates are very arbitrary, but it just gives you something to look at. Gives you an idea that way that you have a new superintendent in place by the end of April.
okay, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
It's very important to me that, I know I haven't discussed this probably with Craig and the other board members, but I think it'd be something the board ought to consider is that, the superintendent sets the hiring for next year, you know, hire the staff. I think they're required to, by law, it's something to do, I think, the teacher's contract, by May the 1st. In other words, everybody has to know what personnel is. And I would like to have a new superintendent in place by that date to work with Mr. Blackburn as far as setting your personnel for next year for this reason. It'd be like, you know, it'd be like hiring a new coach and then the coach being bound by, you know, next year's starting lineup. In other words, you know, the old superintendent's going to set staffing to where, you know, I think the new superintendent and the incoming superintendent can work, you know, to look at that. Because, you know, let's face it, Mark will be working for the new superintendent, so that would be a good thing to have so that we don't have any kind of confusion or anything like that. So I like that date of.
Can we do that? Can we hire him?
Legally.
Well, I don't think what he's talking about is you not starting at that point, but at least have the input.
You know, having the input.
Yeah, and a person can start by then, they just can't start as soon. You can only have one superintendent.
that's right.
They have to be hired as.
I see, in other words, Mark's still going to be the superintendent until June the 30th. But if the incoming superintendent, that would certainly be something maybe that he would want, you know, for a smooth
Paid
transition.
for two superintendents
All
at the
right,
same
what
time.
he's saying is just the opportunity to give some input. If you were to hire me by April 25th, I would want to try to sit down with the superintendent before that date and say, what are you thinking for next year? What plans, what programs do you have in place that we need? And here's some thoughts. When I talk to the board during my interview, here's some things that I'm thinking about as far as next year, and trying to work out personnel based on that.
Yeah, because basically if you don't do that, then you're tying the hands of the incoming superintendent. He can't do anything. So if he wanted to change anything, or if he recommended, you know, if he wanted to do certain things, his hands would be tied for a year.
But
It's
he
not-
really couldn't do anything though, could he?
Couldn't, no, all he
July
could
1st?
do
No,
is
he
he
could
could
just-
just offer
Yeah, he would just
suggestions.
have the input.
It would be
Yeah, that's what I'm
totally
saying.
like me walking into the superintendent saying,
Yeah.
here's what I,
Yeah, it wouldn't be anything that would be binding, but you would think it would certainly, you know, for the benefit of the school district. And you would think too, you know, since he's going to be reassigned,
Well, I think there's a difference in naming the new superintendent and actually hiring them.
Absolutely.
Because you could hire them effective July 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're named early.
That's what
Yeah.
it says. It says here, April 25th, new superintendent named. It doesn't say anything
Yeah.
about him starting work.
yeah, well, that doesn't mean that he's, but
I don't think you're asking for a pay, you're just.
No, I'm not
you're-
asking-
You're not
I'm-
asking for him to be
I'm asking,
paid.
yeah, I'm
He's not
asking for
just
the,
to come in and learn the
for the,
ropes.
I'm asking for the new superintendent to
Yeah.
have to input as far as the staffing for the following year.
Yeah, I think
Is
that's-
this
Yeah, that's it.
something that the current superintendent has to do though?
No,
Okay, that's what I wanted to.
no matter. It's called transition. And I know, one school district I work with, the outgoing superintendent retired and had, the new superintendent come in like 4 Saturdays in a row and brought in different elements of the school district and talked with the, so that they could get, figure out where they were and where they were going.
And there needs to be a transition.
There needs to be a little bit of a transition. But anyway, let me go back up to the third date there now.